So I'm very lucky to have today Shereen Akhtar, who is from our UK office in London, England. And Shereen, tell me what's happening with Sotheby's International Realty in the UK, and
Of
and a little bit
course.
of, and a little bit about your market too. What's your normal market, if we have normal?
Yeah, of course. I mean, normal feels like it was absolutely ages away. I think we've been in lockdown for around 3.5 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks even. And it's been very different. Before this, we had a very active market, and for London, this would be a booming market. We
Yeah,
saw our prime London market. We saw 10 million plus sales, quite frequently,
yeah,
within London. And that all of a sudden has halted a little bit. And it's
yeah,
not so much that we've got buyers cancelling their transactions, they're just merely putting them on hold until this sort of lockdown is lifted. And a lot of the travel restrictions that are in place, they are lifted.
yeah,
London property market is very internationally based. And a lot of the international buyers have halted what would have been a purchase and said, okay, do you know what, we'll come back, let's say in June, July, or when the government says we're okay to come out and do business. So yeah, normally we'd be really busy right now, we'd be out doing viewings, but having said that, we're not completely sort of dead in the water. We've got a lot of inquiries coming in. Our China desk has just done a deal over WeChat for £9 million, which is
wow,
absolutely fantastic. So
yeah.
the market's there. We've got the interaction and we've got the communication going. It's just getting the transactions moving forward, which I'm sure is the same with sort of Toronto. It's
Yeah.
everything is much slower.
Yeah, much slower. Now, do you find, I mean, Toronto's very international as well, but we find that we have waves of different ethnic groups coming. Like there was a time when it was busy, we were busy with the Russians, and then we were busy with the mainland Chinese, and before that it was the Hong Kong Chinese, and then it's the Persians. We have these different waves. Do you find that in London as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a very diverse market. We're
Yeah.
very international, but you do get little pockets of buyers that come and go. I mean, currency is a huge play when it comes to the
Yes.
pound against the dollar. And with the way that the stock markets were and are at the moment, those dollar-based buyers, we've seen an influx with them. Sort of a couple of months ago, we saw when Brexit was happening, we saw Americans.
Yeah.
They were our number one buyers. And then it changed, the Hong Kong dollar, we switched over to Hong Kong. And
Yeah.
we've actually seen surprisingly quite a bit of a lift from Turkey.
Really? Yeah.
With
Yeah.
everything
Us
that's
as
going on.
well. Us as well.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see an influx of inquiries coming in from Turkey prior to COVID-19. And yeah, likewise it changes. Saudi Arabia is one of our feeder markets as well. That's currently on hold too. But before this all happened, we had quite a few inquiries via our Middle East desk. So yeah, you're absolutely right in saying there's little pockets.
Yes.
China still leads. China is still in the lead for us.
And you're
They
talking
are our biggest
mainland or Hong Kong?
mainland China.
Mainland China. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think for us as well, our population has increased with a lot of new Canadians, and a lot of them are mainland Chinese based, and that's wonderful. We have a great influx, and what I love about
Yeah.
them is they're very, very, very interested in schools and education. That's
Yeah.
their prime driver, and it's that's, you have to become almost a schoolmistress. You have to know everything that's going on in each
Yeah.
school in the neighborhood, and it's very important. So
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, it is, and we're very lucky to have somebody called Catherine Che, our head of China desk, and that's
Yes.
exactly what she's done. She's got little groups on WeChat. One's educational
Yeah.
establishments, tourism, and that's the way to sort of really guide them about where to buy. And it's nice that they're interested in this because it's your own knowledge as well. You're sort of learning with them. But yeah, that they've been very good for our market.
Well, and they're also very used to buying on Facebook and WeChat, and looking at properties that way. They're sort of more used to this kind of sales than we are.
Exactly. I mean, we've switched to the whole virtual viewing process, which I'm sure we'll chat about.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of how we've sort of been getting out and about and how we actually are doing viewings. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're so used to the online world.
Yeah.
It's second nature to them.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about how you are doing viewings. What's happening there?
So UK Sotheby's International Realty, I would say about a year ago, we took a lot of our content online anyway.
Yeah.
We went with the trend that social media and online marketing is bigger and bigger at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a lot of the millennials, sort of the 30 to 40 bracket, which have come into our market and ready to buy or rent. So we've been doing online for a while. What we've now done is we have started to do open houses virtually.
Yes.
So we're doing the video tours. When we get an inquiry for somebody that wants to see something, we are absolutely happy to get them a virtual video across.
Yes.
Some of our properties are owner occupied, so our clients are very happy to do that video for us. It's a little bit different here where we are actually seen as non-essential.
Oh, you are?
So
Okay.
yeah, so estate agencies have in fact halted business,
Right.
and we are trying to do everything we can working from home, and online and virtually. So that's made things a little bit more difficult for us, but
Yeah.
we found ways to get around it.
It,
And
it's interesting
also,
because whether the government finds us essential or non-essential, buyers want to buy and sellers want to sell. So we are non-essential. In the meantime, we still are having work to be done and connections to be made, and we're trying to do as much as we can to market our properties.
yeah, exactly. I mean, with us, I think when I look at clients, especially, you've sort of got two categories, and you've got the discretionary movers that
Yes.
sort of need to move and thinking about it, their circumstances are okay, and then you've got those that are being pushed to move,
Right.
downsizing and financially, or they're going through something and they have to. And those that are sort of halfway through the transactions, we've said to them, okay, well, let's exchange and let's think about a completion date when you officially get the keys later on, when this lockdown and COVID-19 situation is over. So I mean, we're due to exchange on 2 properties today, hopefully, fingers crossed, and completion dates will just be delayed. So there's no cancelling, there's just delaying.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, because most of the viewers probably are friends and colleagues in Canada and the United States, and they don't understand how real estate in England works, and it's a little bit different.
I don't think half of us understand how it works.
Do you have an MLS system at all, or is there a cooperative system?
Yep, there is. So our MLS is essentially something called LONRES, which used to stand for London Residential, but you've got loads of properties in there all over the UK now. And that's our MLS. So agents like Knight Frank, Savills, Foxtons, KFH, all the big agents that we have here and globally, they list their properties onto this MLS.
Yes.
And we do a split fee. So in terms of fees, it's very different in London because we can't take from both the buyer and the seller.
Oh, so how do you take? You take from the buyer or the seller?
Yeah. So you can represent both, but you generally always represent the seller, or you represent the buyer, and you're splitting the fee with another agent from the seller.
But are you getting paid direct? Are you personally getting paid? Like, if you're representing the seller, you're getting paid by the seller.
Yeah.
And if you represent the buyer, you get paid by the buyer. Is that my understanding?
So we don't get paid by the buyer. No, we still get paid by the seller, but via the other agency who introduced the property.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So our fees are a lot less than those globally.
Yeah,
we tend to get a maximum of about 3% on secondary homes, maybe a little bit more if it's a new build. So yeah, we try to keep going, and when it comes to a split fee and sort of giving away fees, we're more than happy to, because it's about doing what we can for the buyer and for the buyer.
Now let me ask you a question. Can you explain? Some of our listeners or viewers may have heard about gazumping. Can you tell us what gazumping is?
Yeah, it's a horrible word.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry.
It happens very often. So gazumping is when you've got 2 buyers that are interested in the same property. Number 1 buyer comes in and puts in an offer, and it's all good to go. And then number 2 buyer comes in and puts in a higher offer, while it's all sort of the process has started. And number 2 buyer has gazumped number 1 buyer. You may even have number 3 buyer that gazumps number 1 and 2, and it could go on and on and on.
And so if I have a house, how do I know it's sold? If it's my listing or my own house, how do I know it's sold, and for what price? Am I able to go out and buy another house before my present house closes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So generally outside of the prime central London market that we have, anybody
Yes.
that's sort of on the outskirts, let's say for somewhere like Essex, which is the outskirts or the green belt of London in the UK, they tend to be in chains. So where the homeowner needs to sell before they can buy and so on. And that would
Yes.
happen one or two or three times down the chain.
Yes.
So you do get buyers like that. And we actually assist where we can within the chain also. So if we need to speak to the other homeowner solicitor to give it a bit of a push, collectively all the agents start working together to get the one at the top done, so then it filters down and smoothly and efficiently you're all exchanging and
Yeah.
completing, which
Now,
is the
what's
two
the
terms
difference?
that we do.
What's the difference between exchanging and exchanging? Is that the final firm offer? That's the
So
final acceptable offer, and what are you exchanging? That's what I need clarity
so
on.
we have a three-step process. So your offer
Yes.
goes in and your
Yeah.
offer is accepted.
Yes.
Then you have, between offer and exchange, your entire legal
Yeah.
side of the transaction is carried out. Exchange is when you pay 10% of the purchase price.
Oh, so you haven't paid a deposit before that? You've just made
No,
an offer. Oh, okay.
you've just made an offer. We do tend to sometimes, new builds especially, take non-refundable deposits to secure that buyer. But generally in the secondary home market, because there's a little bit of competition and the property's been on the market for some time, we tend to try and get the exchange done within 21 working days, maybe a little bit sooner.
Okay. So
Um,
then,
so
and then
pay your 10%.
closing is after.
Closing is completion. Yep,
Yeah.
closing is completion. So you mutually decide a date where you can both sort of move. If somebody needs to move on or they're buying another home, that gives everybody time to sort out, let's say, their furniture, their interior designer. And completion is officially when you actually get the keys and you transfer the other 90% across.
That's it's a little bit different. When we give an offer, we make a deposit, and it's usually 5 to 10% of the purchase price. At least in Toronto, it does vary as you go across Canada and the United States. So it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see what everybody's take on it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I think a regulation like that in the UK would be absolutely amazing, and it's something that we need. I think the market in the UK and London especially, it's just not regulated enough in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, who can become an estate agent. Absolutely anybody. You don't need a license.
Oh my God, nothing, and no sort of education in between. For us, every 2 years we have to pass courses, etc., and yeah,
Great.
to keep on
Yeah,
going.
because it keeps you updated and sort of
Yeah.
going. No, anybody can become an estate agent, in London especially. So
Now,
yeah.
are you able to sign deals electronically with DocuSign or something like that? Any of the formats?
Yeah, we use DocuSign, and most recently, I actually had a conversation with two lawyers
Yes.
a couple of days ago in terms of how we go around we have the anti-money laundering process.
Yes, us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we have checks here where you physically have to see the person and their passport.
Yes.
And I really wanted to know how lawyers were going about doing that because they're
Yeah.
not physically seeing them anymore.
Yeah.
And there's been sort of mixed communication about sort of doing it over Skype and doing it over WhatsApp. And is it even worth doing it at all? And, you know, one solicitor said, well, actually, they've halted any new transactions or taking on any new clients because there's no regulation about how they would pass AML checks. So,
Yeah.
now that everything has moved electronically, I think over the next at least month or so or 6 weeks, we'll be looking to do AML checks and our
Yes.
client KYC electronically as well, which includes obviously DocuSign and WhatsApp calls and WhatsApp video calls.
That's amazing. So, can we tell everybody what you and I have been working on with Oliver and Guy and our little project in England?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, I joined the UK Chamber of Commerce for Canada,
Yeah.
and it's been absolutely amazing thanks to you guys in Toronto. The events that they've been holding and the networking that's been going on, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a real drive to really get to know the two different markets. We've been involved in providing content in terms of the market in London and
Yes.
businesses moving to and from sort of Canada to London and London to Canada. it's been great. And I've really seen the Chamber of Commerce flourish in terms of the new members that they've brought on, and
Great.
how that can help our businesses as well.
So what happened is for those of you who don't understand or are not getting what happened, a couple of years ago when I was in London, we decided to go to the UK Canada Chamber of Commerce office, which is in Canada House. And they're very wonderful people. And they told us about, or asked us if we wanted to become a member of the Canada UK Chamber of Commerce. And this way we thought, great idea. Shereen will be our person in London. And we have Oliver Craven, who's one of our team members, who's London born, who will look after the Canadian people. So what we're trying to do is create a symbiosis between the UK market and the Canada market, and see if we can't do some, helpful transitions for people who have to move to the UK to work or have to move to Toronto to work. And so far it's been, I'm the speakers that they have at the UK Canada Chamber of Commerce are amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's you're getting the best of the best from Canada, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's the quality of the speakers that the chamber get as well.
Yeah.
That's very important. I mean, a couple of months ago we were at a wealth management seminar, and they had the likes of people like JP Morgan, and they had Royal Bank of Canada, who obviously they've got a huge affiliation with, and Royal Bank of Canada sponsor a huge art fair here called Masterpiece that happens every year, and we were very kindly invited last year, and it was fantastic just to get around and put names to faces and become contacts for those people.
It's a great it's been a great experience, and we try as much as possible to create that symbiosis, and hopefully we'll be there. Shereen is, as you know, is our person in the UK. She's our point person. If ever you need anything, if ever you have clients moving there, if ever you have clients who are living there and want to sell or for whatever reason want to transact, Shereen is the person. And I just want to again say thank you for taking the time today to chat with me. I think everybody watching this is going to be fascinated. And if they want to connect with you, I will put all your information there. They can find you through our site.
Absolutely. And even if it's just for a chat to hear more about how we operate here in London, and not just with COVID-19, we're hoping this will go away soon. And when we're back and busy and we're in the rush of it, I'm more than happy to set up video conference calls and have a chat about how our market operates in terms of sort of Toronto's and Canada's.
For North Americans, it's quite fascinating,
Yeah.
Also, let me just ask you a question. If somebody is interested in a property, so you can actually show other real estate agents properties as well?
Yep, we can show them. So as long as they're offering a fee, we can go ahead and show them. They'll send us sort of videos if we need to. The big guys, so Knight Frank and Savills and Foxtons, they've been quite good, and they've been very active on their virtual tours and getting them out very quickly.
Right.
Nobody was prepared for this, but we've really done our best to make do with what we've got. It's been challenging, but it's been...
It's really pushing creativity. Maybe you and I should chat about something. Maybe we could do something for the UK Chamber of Commerce about real estate in Canada and the US, and do a little Zoom conference.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were supposed to do a blog, just sort of a property market update. So maybe we can chat about that and see how we can give a little update on the Toronto market and the Canada market and the London market, and send it across to them and have a chat to them about it.
Yeah, one of the things we decided to do, Sean Wolf, I'm not too sure if you know Sean. Sean deals with Muskoka country property just north of Toronto. And we were supposed to have a big cottage show here in Toronto, which of course got canceled. So what we're doing next Thursday is doing a great big Zoom conference with anybody who's interested in hearing thoughts from our friend Sean about what's happening up in the North Country, what's happening in the cottage country, things that people have to be aware of. Yeah, and I think sometimes what do they say? They hand you lemon, and you just have to learn how to make lemonade. And
exactly.
And I think that's what we have to do.
And it's such a nice idea. yeah, to be able to put a face to a name,
Yeah,
and to be able to do these video calls, I think this is the way to go forward. I mean, I'm thinking about putting videos into electronic direct mails, so that
yeah.
the first thing you see is a video and something lifelike than just generic photos of that person. I think it's a
One,
better way to communicate.
yeah, one of the most popular ones in Canada, the United States, is something called Bomb Bomb.
Oh,
And you can sign up for it, and it does create automatic video emails. And I think we're going to see more of that. We really are.
yeah,
I know a lot of
definitely.
agents use it. I don't know, depends, I think, on the technology, but I think in this day and age right now, and having this awful situation occur, what it's allowing people to do is become more computer literate, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody says it's an age thing. It's not really. My father, at age 80, I gave him a computer, and he was doing things I never thought he would do. He was connecting with all of us
Oh,
on Facebook and watching us, and oh my God, it
oh,
was an
how
amazing
wonderful.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
And like you said, it's churning the creativity in everybody. And
Yeah,
I think real estate, and agency, especially in London, I think it's going to change coming out of this period. I think we're all going to be so digitally focused because we know
yes,
that it works,
yeah,
and we've been doing it for, let's say, 12 weeks.
yeah.
I think that's the way that our industry is going to move into very quickly.
Yeah, I think it'll be a new world ahead. I mean, it's a new world right now. It's something
Yeah,
that's unprecedented, and
yeah.
I just want to say thank you again, and all the best wishes for your prime minister as well. I know that he's suffering right now. Is there any updates on him today or not?
Well, he's doing well. He's still in ICU, but
Yeah,
he's not on a ventilator, which is the
yeah,
most sort of good luck thing that we can wish for. He's doing well, so we
yeah.
just hope him a speedy recovery.
Actually,
And
I have a friend of mine who has just got out of the hospital from dealing with coronavirus, and he said he's going to come and do an interview with me this weekend. So keep an eye
oh,
out for
great,
it. I just want to find out what his experience was like being in the heat of it. He just was released,
yeah,
is now at home, and
yeah,
thank God getting better. And
yeah,
certainly wouldn't wish it on
absolutely.
anybody, but it is. For the most part, it seems to be survivable. I mean, it's terrible that we are losing people, but um, it is
There's a good
survivable.
survival rate out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, thank you ever so much, Richard, for having
Pleasure,
me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
pleasure.
And I wish you all the safety and best wishes in the world, and your team and anybody watching, stay safe.
Yeah, really.
And like, if you need to chat, we're all here for you.
Shereen, thank you
We're
very,
in this
very much
together.
again. Yeah, we are in this together. And thank you very much. And I so appreciate your thoughts and telling us a little bit about the London market. And let's you and I think about a project we can do for London UK Chamber of Commerce. Let's talk to the people there
Definitely.
and see if they wouldn't mind a little webinar that people could be invited to, a webinar and/or a Zoom conference. All right.
Absolutely. We'll get
Ple-
on it.
okay. Take care. Pleasure. I hope you have
Take
a
care of yourself.
wonderful day. Take
Take
care.
care.